It's episode 109 of Seddy Bimco, Part 2, The Revenge. And we continue our tour of the 50 nifty United States. And this week we're going to Alaska.
We're going to Alaska for 1977's Claws.
Great.
Spelt C-L-A-W-S, just so you know. Not Santa. Nope. And we're definitely not saying Jaws, because this movie owes nothing to Jaws.
It came out in 1977, George. I'm excited. Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, you're excited.
Oh, we have an age-old question.
Oh.
I don't know how I can beat last week. It's going to be a great show.
What was last week's age? I don't know. They're all terrible.
You know Goldilocks and the Three Bears?
I do. I know them personally.
Did the Three Bears ever get revenge on Goldilocks for telling everyone that Father Bear's bidet water was too hot, Mother Bear's bidet water was too cold, but the baby bear's bidet water tasted just right?
I have a follow-up question.
I guess that's a slam on Goldilocks. She was drinking.
Yeah, I know. It's because she drinks bidet water. But I have a question, because I have it in good authority from no less a source than the Roman Catholic Pope that bears shit in the woods.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So do they shit in the woods and then they come back inside and then use a bidet?
Yeah.
All right, good for those bears.
It's Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. The show where we create revenge sequels that nobody wanted.
It's all good. It's all good.
Seddy Bimco Part 2, The Revenge. And every week, before we watch this movie, we pick a random number out of a jar for a random question where we're going to ask who from this movie would be most likely to do something. Because we make it up on the spot. Number 14.
And that corresponds in the list to what, Tim?
Who from this movie?
Tim.
Who from this movie will most likely become a prop comedian in India?
Prop comedian in India. And of course, we did mention this. We should, though. We are America's top revenge-themed podcast, where we will construct revenge-themed sequels to movies so you don't have to.
Yeah.
And sometimes we like to dip into the world at large and see if there's any heartwarming tales of revenge. Tim, did you find any this week?
No, I did not.
Neither did I. Turns out there was no heartwarming tales of revenge, because the two things almost never occur in tandem. Heartwarming and revenge. Doesn't happen a lot.
But George.
Yep.
Longtime listeners to the show, I have something. Big news.
Wait, is John Kelly here?
No. I wish.
Oh, that's not that big.
We've been making fun of young Sheldon.
We have, yes. At my insistence, because Tim refused to make any references to any pop culture event that occurred after 1952.
So last week I was out with our friend Chris, who doesn't listen to the show. And George.
Hi, Chris, who doesn't listen.
And guess what he said? His young daughter, he's got daughters in grade school. His young daughter, she wants to watch Young Sheldon. So he's watching it with her because it's a little bit older for her. He was like, I just want to see what's going on in there. And he did say that in the show, they mentioned, the father says, at least they weren't playing grab ass. So he had to explain to his daughter what the game of grab ass is, which I was like, I don't even know what the game of grab ass is really. Is it a game?
I'm not sure. Does it involve grabbing asses?
Yeah, I think so. Kids doing that. Yeah. So
kids today. Well, I mean, it's too bad that, Chris has, I'm sorry to hear your child's turned out that way. Luckily, we know you have another. So just put all your attention into the second kid. Your first one is lost to us now.
At least you didn't have kids in the 90s when kids had to hear little Bart say, eat my shorts. And parents were like, oh my God.
The scandal.
Get me my fainting couch. Parents were upset about that. You kids, listen.
I remember George Bush famously, didn't he?
Did he?
George Bush the senior said there was some line along the lines, and you'll appreciate this because it's an old-timey reference.
Okay.
Americans need more families like the Waltons and less families like the Simpsons.
Right. Because the Waltons was not on the air when he was president, I don't think.
The Waltons... What, even Tim, even you, who is as near as we could reckon 100 years old or more, was that ever on in your lifetime?
It was.
It was. Did you watch the Waltons?
A few times. If
my
parents were out, I had to TV babysitter.
Can I tell you the totality of what I know about the Waltons?
Good Night, John Boy.
Well, I know the actor who played John Boy because he was also in the TV show of It. And he had like a big old peanut M&M stuck to some part of his face. I don't remember where, but he has a big old mole on his face. And like
No.
my mental image of the Waltons is just that guy sitting there, that big old growth on his face, and be like, "Yep, that was the Waltons."
He just had a birthmark.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, it wasn't actually chocolate candy stuck to his face?
No.
That'd be quite a shtick to keep up for all those centuries, wouldn't it?
Well, do you have anything to say? I just cogged all the oxygen in the room talking about young Sheldon.
I know, you suck.
Do you think young Sheldon never said, "Eat my shorts"? Maybe he said that before he came up with Bazinga.
God, I hate to say young Sheldon is so hip and new that the childhood of Sheldon, because I assume because he's in that show Big Bang Theory as an adult, right?
Uh-huh.
His childhood probably was in the late 80s, early 90s. So he probably makes hip references, cultural references at the time to The Simpsons. I bet you there's an episode where he gets all hepped up on Simpsons.
Yeah. Or he has an opinion about the OJ case.
And he's like, OJ was framed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we're speaking to you. This is the first podcast we've recorded in a post-OJ world. How do you feel, Tim?
No, we did mention it before.
We did?
You're mixed up because we made a joke about him coming back to life before they heard this episode.
Wait, really? Didn't he die 2 days ago? What?
No,
what?
Last week he died.
God, I guess I blacked out in grief.
You're in a whirlwind of book touring.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm heading out again tomorrow. Gone for the weekend.
Oof. Speaking of Alaska, I think I was in a book tour there, and I came out of my reading, and I got a tweet.
A tweet. And it was from an actual bird, right? It was an actual, a trained passenger pigeon. You're like, I thought they were extinct, not in Alaska.
Said, I think you were a clue at Jeopardy.
Yeah. Wow. And then it shit on you.
George Bush. It was
George. Wow. And then he said, I wish you were more like the Waltons. This is good. Yeah. We're a good podcast.
I said, eat my shorts. I hung up on it.
He said, Bar, the guy in Jeopardy told me eat my shorts. That's my George Bush impression.
Your George Bush?
Yep. It's pretty good. Because he said bar. That's how you know he's talking to Barbara Bush.
No, he said, read my lips. No new taxes.
That sucks.
No new taxes.
Your George Bush sounds a lot like your Mark Twain. Sounds a lot like your everything.
The politician on The Simpsons guy goes, vote Quimby.
Vote Quimby.
Does he say vote Quimby?
He runs out and a lot of times going, vote Quimby. I did not sleep with that model. You know, I'm surprised you referred to him. Like, first off, like the man who is so obsessed with Zapruder and by extension, the death of our president, JFK, Mayor Diamond Joe Quimby for The Simpsons is clearly a JFK reference.
He is.
And how do you not, how have you not mastered a JFK accent?
I don't like it. It
is. I mean, Boston listeners, I'm sorry. You got a rough accent.
I said I promised this last week, and I think we're going to talk about this movie not much.
Wait.
What I mean is there's a lot of walking around the woods.
Yeah, there is.
Do you want to hear my secret origin? It's not a joke.
Yeah, let's hear it. Wait, remind listeners who maybe don't pay attention to the minutia, or people like me who actually haven't heard last week's episode since we recorded it.
Last week was Cablasto, but the week before, I mean.
Oh, yeah, anyway, 2 weeks ago. Anyway.
George thinks I'm obsessed with the Zapruder film.
Yes. Yeah.
Zapruder film was filmed by Abraham Zapruder. He got a film of JFK as he went through Daley Plaza and was assassinated. He caught it on film, much to the chagrin of the 3 CIA agents who were placed around Daley Plaza to make sure one of them.
Daley Plaza. All right.
Daley Plaza to make sure one of them got him. So I did mention that I saw Waltons because the TV was my babysitter sometime, and I don't know why this happened. I also, for you kids, Geraldo, he's like a sensationalistic journalist. He opened Capone's vault, thinking something was going to be in there. I don't know if George
This is Geraldo Rivera, in case you're looking. Yeah, I remember that. They did it on The Simpsons.
Yep.
There was nothing in Al Capone's vault, but it wasn't Geraldo's fault.
And it was live.
The B Sharps episode. Yep. Go on.
Anyway, he was live. He was pissed. He had a show in the late 80s where controversial people come on and fight, and they famously broke his nose once. And
I forgot that, yeah.
But he had a show in 1975. And something else I think people don't realize about the Zapruder film, nobody saw it until 1975. They didn't release it. And little Tim was like turning the TV. My parents weren't around. And this show came on. You can look it up on YouTube. It's Geraldo. I think it's called Good Night America.
Good Night America.
And
Good Night.
Yeah, Good Night America. And of course it said, warning, this show will contain scenes of graphic violence and children should not watch it and everything. So what do kids do when they see that?
They politely turn off the TV and watch cartoons, right, Tim?
I looked around, saw no adults, got in the couch under the covers and said, "Ooh, what's this going to be?"
Oh, boy.
And they're talking. They're like, "Yeah, we have film of JFK being assassinated." I'm like, "What? You have film of that?" And they ran the
thought
film.
nobody saw me do that, is what young Tim
Yeah.
said. After I blamed that Patsy in the book
Right.
suppository. I said book suppository instead of depository.
So-
that was a Freudian slip.
But little Tim saw the president's head explode. And I know a good reference here for George. You remember the episode of Simpsons where Bart and his dad go on a tour of a...
I like that it was Bart and his dad.
Homer.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Somehow they go on a tour of cattle, of how cattle are slaughtered. You remember this episode?
This is not Bart and Homer. This is Troy McClure showing young Billy.
What?
It's one of his. Yeah, it's one of the Troy McClure movies.
Is this the Mandela effect? I swear.
No, this is the Tim is fucking high as shit effect.
No.
Yep.
But they go in, they come out, and they're just like comatose.
The kid's
and shaking.
Yeah, the kid's shaking. Yeah. No, it's Troy McClure, voiced by the late great Phil Hartman, and it's the little kid Billy who's often in his films with him.
Yeah, so that was me.
Yep,
that was me.
But wait, 75.
I told my mom, I feel sick because of what was on the TV, and she's just like, "Well, go turn it off." That was parenting back then. So I did feel ill.
How old were you in 75, Tim? Were you like 10?
I don't know. I was 8, 9, 74,
okay.
75.
This actually reminds me of a very similar story for me.
Oh, yeah?
When I was in second grade, my grandparents took me they were driving across country to visit my aunt who lived outside of San Francisco. And I was the oldest grandchild. They're like, let's take along little Georgie. So I took this very expansive trip where we went in their camper, drove all the way across the country, stopped at all these spots. That's where I first saw North Dakota and South Dakota.
The inter-camper?
It was in their camper. They had a
camper. Okay.
Yeah, I should have made that more clear. Wait, no, it wasn't their camper. It was just in the car. I'm sorry. Camper was years later they got the camper. So we drove out to California, and I was staying there with my aunt and her then husband, or maybe I don't know. He was a creep. But
was he a hippie?
Yeah, he was something. He was dirty. And I had to sleep on the couch because they had a small place. And my grandfather and this man were like staying up late to watch The Shining.
Ooh.
And like I said, this was even between first and second grade. I was quite young. And I was pretending to be asleep, but I watched the entirety of The Shining while pretending to be asleep on the couch.
Oh, wow.
That was some trauma. Because parts were exciting, like, hey, Jack Nicholson is in that room and there's a naked lady. Oh, God, no. Now she's a horrible old crone who's bleeding. And what is that man dressed up as a dog doing to that other man? And there was a lot of stuff I saw and what was those scary twins? Yes. And look, he put an axe in Scatman Crothers. It was a lot. And I laid there the whole time watching this thing, like being like, funny because now like The Shining is literally one of my favorite movies. And I wonder if that's why.
Is this your favorite?
It's one of my favorite. I'd say top 10.
Really?
Yeah, Shining's a fucking great movie. Do you want to fight? I'll fight you. I'll tell you what, though, as way of segue, it's No Claws 1977, huh?
No,
yeah.
segue.
No, it's a segue. Let's do it. All right, let's talk about the movie. Claws, 1977. The representative and auteur of the Great 50 Nifty. It is Alaska's film. Directed, I wrote as if they are people we would know very familiarly, by Bansback and Pearson. What are their first names? Who the fuck knows? I was delighted to see it was distributed by Alaska Pictures. I'm like, that's appropriate. Yep, I wrote that down. And this movie, let's just say it up front. This movie is it is Jaws with bears, and it's.
I'm sorry.
I want to address the hubris of the filmmakers, Bansback and Pennison, or whatever their name, or Pearson, that to so blatantly name this substandard piece of film as like how dare you name it so close to Jaws?
I know.
Jaws, another one of my top 10 favorite films. Jaws
Yes,
is
I
a
agree.
fucking masterpiece.
Sure.
It created the idea of what we think of as the summer blockbuster. That movie is great. This movie is such a weak reflection. It's unbelievable.
It is. But I think they were naming it Claus to be close to Santa. That's what I think.
You think it was like they were trying to get they were trying to get the little kids and like, oh boy, I can't wait to sit in that jolly elf's lap and tell them what I want for Christmas. And then the movie opens up with two bears fighting like kaiju. Probably the best part of the movie, honestly.
Yeah, and I hope they weren't hurt.
I think that was real footage of real, possibly wild bears.
They should have hid the bears like Jaws. So that people wouldn't know what a bear looked like till halfway through the movie. That would have worked better, I think.
It would have. I will say there were scenes where, even as bad as the production of this movie was, I couldn't quite decide if we were seeing real bears in some scenes. I ultimately decided they clearly had a trained bear that was very good at sitting up and it's like standing up, which made it look very fake.
Yeah. And they had some fake ones that were slow motion.
They definitely had some fake every kill.
Every kill was like a Monty Python sketch because somebody be walking and suddenly a slow motion bear would just fall on them.
It was so all right. So the movie opens up. It actually put me in the mind of the film I was originally going to suggest for Alaska, which was going to be the Werner Herzog documentary, Grizzly Man.
Oh, but that's sad.
Exactly. And I'm like, that's a real tragedy. I wouldn't even feel bad. If you've never seen Grizzly Man, it's the story of Timothy Treadwell, who was a crazy person who lived among the bears in this one particular park in Alaska every winter. And he believed he had a spiritual connection to the bears. And he would go up and talk to them and film them. And these were wild fucking grizzly bears who were trying to fatten up for the winter. And he eventually gets eaten by a bear. And you could even like...
And his girlfriend that he dragged along.
That's the sad part. His girlfriend also gets killed. So like there's a victim in there beyond Timothy Treadwell. So we're not going to do that one. But this opening scene did remind me of Grizzly Man, because there's that sequence in Grizzly Man where he's filming two bears fighting. And they're really going at it. And he's like, oh, look at that. That bear is fighting so hard. He just voided his bowels, which is literally a part that happens in that. I was thinking like these bears are really going at it. And it was a little bit slowed down. The sound effects were maybe a little bit amped up. It really was like watching a Godzilla battle. It was kind of awesome.
Are you saying that you saw one void its bowels?
No, I'm saying this one.
I thought that was your whole point.
No, Timothy Treadwell saw them void its bowels. I just threw that in as color commentary. I think if you see an animal fighting on film and it like shits itself, that bear's noting. Bears noting, I said, without even meaning to. Boo! All right.
You're good. This is going to be a great episode. I got to say.
This is already the best episode.
It's going to be an amazing episode. You just can't wait. And this movie enraged me because usually I love these movies. It's so bad. I'm sorry to all the people involved. I was angry. For once, I was angry at a movie.
This movie was so bad it made you angry?
Yes, I was angry at this movie.
Wow. Okay, And
I should like it because it's bad.
Because you like film. Garbage.
Honeymoon of Terror at least had funny people. There's no,
the characters are pretty wretched
a wooden
in this.
stick in this movie.
All right, so let's see. So after we see the two bears fighting, which again, this is the high point of the movie. So I'm thinking, watching this, I'm like, this might be good. Real bears fighting. It says Alaska Pictures. This is all exciting. Then we cut to like the most 70s looking fucks watching these two bears fighting with guns. And then they're like, we realize they're poachers and they shoot the bears like it's like the end of Bonnie and Clyde. They shoot them like 90 times.
Right.
And I guess one bear gets killed, but the other bear is still.
Yeah. I just saw one close up of fake blood.
Yeah. There's a close up of you see like a piece of brown carpet where a hole gets punched through it and red paint pours through. And then there's the bear laying, but then the guys, the hunters, they're like, that bear's still breathing. Let's get out of here. And they jump in their red van and run off. I'm like,
and the main guy, I should say, he's got the whole headband with the lion pattern on it. He's like stereotypical because he shows up again.
Yeah, he did. The head poacher did look like he would have been a character from previous film we covered in Seddy Bimco, Roar.
Yeah.
If any actor in Roar ever act, actually a lot of actors in Roar did act again. If any actor in this ever acted again, it would have been that guy in Roar.
They run away in their van. They got a red van.
They run in their van and they run to an area it's a big red van. And then at the same time, they pass by a red pickup truck. And you wouldn't know this at this point, but this is two of our main characters, and their names are not given right away, but they are the guy's name is
Monroe.
Jason. Jason Monroe. You're right.
Monroe.
Jason Monroe. Yeah, they call them both, depending.
Does he have a beard?
No, he does not have a beard. That's why it's so funny you said that. Yeah.
I wanted to call him.
But you know what, Tim? He is wearing plaid, which I could see why you would see.
Okay.
Tim has this. I'm wearing plaid right now, and I have a beard, so Tim gets confused by that.
Yes.
And then his wife, Chrissy. Yep. Chris. These two are very much in love. They're being very lovey-dovey. It was actually nice to see such a loving relationship captured on film. She makes fun of, and now first, right? You ready, Tim? It's the first and only George's currency because she's lightly joshing her friend. So Chrissy is lightly teasing her husband Jason about his logging business because he's a logger and logging is what he does. He loves logging. This guy loves logs. And she makes fun of his. Yeah, he just talks about logs a lot. Like I would say a concerning amount. He talks about logs, right? Like that's like you're like somebody talks about logs that much. You're like, mental note: this person might not be all there. So he's talking about logs, and she teases him like, "Oh, you're gonna haul him in this truck?" And he goes, and this part really threw me, Tim. Don't go pick it on my $15,000 truck.
Yeah, that's a lot of money back then, isn't it?
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah.
And I also want to stress to you, like there are pickup trucks where you would pay a lot of money, but this was a pretty beat up looking old Ford, a red Ford, right? And it was not a new truck by any stretch of imagination. It's such a piece of shit. It breaks down the next scene, literally. Yeah,
it does.
So $15,000 in 1977 is equivalent to $77,000 and 309 cents and Wow. Now, okay, Tim.
He's a logger.
We are New Yorkers. I do not own a car. You do not own a car either, right?
Nope.
So I had to look up like what would be a real high-end pickup truck nowadays. You'd expect to pay between like $35,000 to maybe $65,000 for like a real nice car. Yeah. You know, pick up this guy. I don't understand anything about this. He didn't seem like he was joking.
No.
I was confused. I was like, it threw me off and I never got back on. I'm like, what? This movie? What happened?
I was confused when they were singing those songs in the truck about the mountain.
Are you going to play any of the songs?
Oh, should I play? Okay.
Yeah, because the songs are foreshadowing. They were singing. Oh, well, it's when the bear comes around. They're saying when she'd be coming around the mountain, but they sing when the bear came around the mountain.
Then they sang that new song, Disco Duck.
Disco Duck, yeah. And then they sang that song. It was the Disco Star Wars because this year Star Wars came out.
And then they sang the Cantina song from Star Wars. They sang that.
Yep.
It has no words, but they did all the sounds with their mouths.
Then they played, they did that, and then they played "The Long and Winding Road" by the Beatles, and they poured out a drink. So it's been 7 years since they split up. Yep. What else? What else can we say?
That's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Great. Good. All right.
This part made me very angry. This next part. Sorry, we're not there yet. Go ahead.
Okay. Sorry. So the poachers race off. And they're driving. Their truck breaks down. Because it's a piece of shit, even though it was a $77,000 equivalent truck. And the logger, Jason Monroe, tells his wife, Chrissy, he's like, "You wait here, hun, and I'm going to go get us some help." And he walks out, and he's walking for a few feet. We switch to like bear eye view,
right?
Because the bear gets up. That bear's still alive, even though it's like perforated. Yep. Mm-hmm. And this bear runs out, and it fucks up our boy.
Yeah, I thought he was
slash
dead.
Him around. Yep, it would have made sense. He was dead. We see it slashes up his shirt, so his arm gets hurt. Presumably, we'll adjust that later.
Yeah,
and then it cuts. This is the part that pissed you off, isn't it? It cuts to the news flashes.
Yes, and
can you describe this crap? Can you describe this crap?
Screen, right? They tried to do a computer screen with no computer.
So it's literally the screen is black and white text with like kind of like text crawl music, like you'd hear in like the old news flashes, and it says bear attacks man horribly wounded. We're like, so we learned from that the guy we saw, Jason, is only horribly wounded, but then we read about like multiple other accounts, like Three hunters went to find it. 2 of them killed. Right. Family of 4 killed. And we're like, what? Is this the whole movie? He's going to be this?
That's why I was angry, because it was 5 years later.
And then, well, they do drop the term for the first time in there. Satan Bear attacks 5 people and then disappears. And then it cuts to 5 years later. And we see the fucking logger laying in bed having a clear PTSD syndrome.
Yeah, with his ex-wife.
Yeah, well, yeah,
right?
We find out his wife has left him. She's left him, and she's actually with another man who, like, quite the step up, I must say.
What's his name? So we can keep this straight. Do you know
the guy that she leaves him with, his name is Howard.
Howard.
That he gets introduced proper a little bit later.
In the way they portrayed this, George, I was already typing, so he lost his arm.
Yep.
You're typing that too.
I'm assuming, and I'm like, and we see this guy rolling around the bed. His left arm was the arm we see get all chewed up by the bear.
Right.
So he's thrashing about, and his left arm is under the covers, and his right arm's above his head. I'm like, oh, he's gonna have a stump. And I was wondering, because this dream goes on for a while.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, did they actually cast a guy who was like missing an arm already, or are they gonna do like a fake prosthetic?
CG.
But he wakes up and like he just kind of holds his arm, and his arm looks fine, but I guess it just kind of hurts a little.
He just looks at it.
And let me just stress. So this man,
I think
he's what?
He's upset he can no longer operate his bidet with that hand, I think is what happened.
Yeah, it's true. But what he is really upset about, we learn in short order, because he wakes up and speaks to like a character who I feel is probably a racist caricature of a Native American. Yeah. I feel like he wasn't really. He looked like he was wearing bright yellow makeup in the first scene too, which I'm like, oh, I think this is like brown face gone bad.
Yeah.
But he now lives with an old a guy named Henry, I think his name was.
Not portrayed well. He just often says, I go drink whiskey now.
Yeah. Oh, and folks, Tim's not even lying. Like his answer is to drink whiskey about stuff. So yeah, he is the Native American. He lives with him. We learn that Jason Monroe's wife has left him. She's living with another man. She took his son, who we learn they have a son. And the reason she let Bucky, which is like, man, you just want your kid to get killed if you name your kid Bucky. And she left him because he's obsessed with revenge and what the bear did to his arm.
Right.
Folks, I just want to really stress, aside from him occasionally, the actor remembering he should hold his hand like it hurts, this man exhibits nothing wrong with his arm.
No.
He later on in this movie fights a bear with an axe, swinging at both hands. Right. Fine. Yeah.
Well, he couldn't work his bidet. Come on. Or play a violin.
Well, he does say it affects his logging business. And like we see in flashbacks, there are so many flashbacks.
I know.
You know, there are literally flashbacks within flashbacks too.
And they're like the Scooby-Doo ones with the
the wavy and the toodaloo. And she's like, I just can't. You're so angry all the time. You want revenge of that bear. He's like, well, I can't log. I'm a logger. All I do is log. She's like, there's other jobs you could get in town. He's like, but honey, I'm a logger. So she leaves him, and good for her.
And Bucky is like at least 8 or 9, and it's 5 years later. So
I assume Bucky already existed.
Why wasn't he out in the van?
Because he was being watched by Henry, the Native American guy.
All right.
Or I don't know.
I'll let you do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. I don't think he would have. And I think shit went bad after he got hurt. I don't think they ever slept again after the bear kind of lightly injured his hand. So I don't think there would have been another kid. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to get trying to get The Shining out of my head. Wanted to talk about that. Can't believe that's a top 5 for you.
I didn't say top 5. I said top 10. And why wouldn't it be?
I don't know. I remember watching it and being like, eh.
All right, folks. If you write into Seddy Bimco with the E at the end at gmail.com, tell me your top 10 favorite movies. I'll tell you mine.
Top horror or just top movies?
I would say top 10.
Wow.
Off the top of my head, here's some other ones. Raiders of the Lost Ark, The Thing by John Carpenter.
Yeah.
What else?
Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
Oh, God, it might be. It honestly might be. Why are we talking about this? Let's talk about this movie.
Because this movie made me angry. So then
we cut to an old guy who looked like
commissioner. What's his name?
He's the commissioner. I actually wrote it first. His name is Ben.
Okay.
I actually wrote he looked like an old Al Pacino, but as the movie went on, I realized he actually looked like an old Michael Douglas.
I didn't think that. So no.
Yeah, he's an old guy. And he is riding along in a van, a car, and he gets a report of the radio that there's a disturbance at a lake, and we see a bunch of people swimming.
Hippies, George. Hippies, come on. Don't just say people.
I don't know if they're hippies.
Oh, they're hippies. Come on.
They might be hippies. Well, hippies. Okay, I was getting to hippie. I don't want to shoot the hippie water until we get to it. Okay. And they hear a bear noise, and they go running off, and he pulls up, and then, Tim, who runs up to him?
A hippie.
A fucking hippie. And I at first thought it was a Sasquatch because, of course, if you're familiar with Seddy lore, we can't tell them apart. But this guy is such a hippie. He goes, and he's trying to describe what's going on to Ben, the commissioner. And he says, hey, man, are you on Snap?
Right. What is Snap?
They're making up drugs, right? Like, that's not a real drug, right?
It's not a real drug.
Yeah.
Unless he meant Snapple, apple juice.
And then he also says, and the guy's like, what are you scared of, Ben? And then the hippie says, Captain Nemo ain't scared of nothing. Because I guess his name is Captain Nemo.
Cool.
Yep.
That's a good hippie name.
And so he's like, there's a bear, man. It's a bear. And he's over in the car. And the car's behind like a little tent. And the commissioner guy walks up to it. And he just laughs. And it's a baby bear.
Well, wait, you missed the best line.
Oh, what's the best line?
The man says, what's the problem there? Is it a bear or what? And the hippie says, a bear? I don't know. I'm a rock singer, not Walt Disney. Did you hear that?
Oh, I did hear the Walt. I couldn't understand what he said. I heard Walt Disney.
I don't know what that means.
I assumed it meant they didn't show him from the waist down. I assumed that he was walking around Winnie the Pooh style, meaning just a shirt and just letting his little hippie flap in the wind.
But Walt doesn't do that. That's Walt. I thought you were going, Walt walks around with no head because they froze his head after he died. And this was 1977. That's
what else? Okay, so that's interesting, right? Yeah, no heads for Walt, no pants for Winnie the Pooh.
The commissioner said, that's John Lennon's catchphrase, you dirty hippie.
I don't get it. Wait, what? What's John Lennon's catchphrase?
I'm a rock singer, not Walt Disney. John Lennon said that all the time.
Did he?
Yeah.
I thought he said I'm a rock singer, not Jesus Christ. Who, by the way, I'm more popular than.
Yeah, they're more popular.
I just want to address how fucking weird is it that there is actually a bear there. It's just like not a full grown bear.
No.
He's like okay with that being in the hippie's car.
Yeah, I wonder why I walked away too.
I mean, there's a couple times in this movie where they actually encounter baby bears. And the one thing I've always been told, now granted, I am a city boy. City boy. If you find a baby bear, you should be wary because it probably means mama bear's right nearby and mama bear going to fuck you up. Yeah. So if I'm the commissioner, I walk up and this hippie is either the bear got in there by its own volition or he stuck the bear in there because he wanted to put a shirt on it and no pants, whatever. Like, you should be like, dude, there is a fucking bear here. Let's scan, make sure there's no fucking weird mama bear about to kill us. Anyway.
Well, the ranger handbook says to shoot hippies on sight. So he's just like, well, I'll just let the mama bear take care of this. That's why he left.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because you're right. Because normally in movies we watch, it is true. The hippie does get killed.
Yeah.
So this hippie, we don't see. We just assume that mama bear dispatches the hippie off camera.
Yep.
Now we cut to a scene. This is when we're introduced to Chrissy's new love interest, though we don't know this yet.
Howard.
Howard is apparently. I mean, I guess they were Cub Scouts. They didn't seem to be.
Yeah, they're scouts.
He's making. At first, I thought he was making a group of children work in a mine with stone tools.
Yeah,
they're setting up a camp, and they are literally just banging things with rocks. Like this is like Stone Age technology.
Reminded me of Revenge of the Blob. What? The Blob. Remember Scouts? They got.
It did actually, yeah. And I was expecting Dick Van Patten to step out and be creepy as Dick Van Patten does. Luckily, he did not.
Does Howard have a beard?
No, Howard does not have a beard. Howard is clean shaven. Okay.
I want to call somebody Beardo.
I don't think anybody in this movie has a beard. The commissioner has a mustache. Oh, he has a goatee actually, and Chrissy also has a beard. See what I did? That's a joke.
She does. Yeah. That's right.
No,
sorry.
So
then we cut to thinking about The Shining. Let's go.
You're right.
Let's move forward.
Just keep thinking about The Shining. So then it's night now, and like the same kids are camping.
Yep.
And the copy of this was very poor, I should say. So it's just
dark.
kind of like a black blob. We don't know what's going on, and they're saying. The kids are talking about something called kusika. And that, as far as I was able to pick up, this is the first time this term is used in the movie. Mm-hmm. But acustica, we learn later, is a Native American term for a demon bear, which is not a normal bear. It's a bear that has spiritual properties.
Just like
that is going to
Chris Claremont's New Mutants run with.
I was going to say that. I'm like, just like the famous demon bear saga, which, you know, actually
20, I think.
Yep. And then also, I mean, I think that was the basis of the New Mutants movie that I never saw.
Oh, never saw it either.
Yep. I don't think anybody in the world saw that. And then one of the kids goes like, it's a acustica. These kids are the worst actors.
They are.
And Howard almost blows them away. And it turns out it's just some ugly kids pretending to be a bear.
Just like Jaws.
Yep. And I just want to talk about Howard because you said he was a beardo. Howard looks much more Hollywood leading man than Jason the Logger. Jason the Logger looks like a lump of shit. Ben, the old guy, looks like I said, an old Michael Douglas.
Yep.
Like this dude, Howard, I would think was probably like a low rung Hollywood actor guy. He had very blue eyes, very black hair, kind of square jaw.
I looked him up. I believe he was in some Westerns.
He had a very Western looking, he definitely would have been like, was the Waltons a Western?
Not really in that sense. They're more like Little House on the Prairie. They're
really?
The same type of story.
Oh,
Wait,
was Guns? No, Bonanza's the one that ran forever, right? Mm-hmm. You watched that, right?
No, I did not like that.
No,
I didn't run forever. Gunsmoke ran forever.
Oh,
so did Seinfeld.
Yep.
So did
Young Sheldon. I'm speaking from the future. Went off the air in the year 3017.
Yeah, he's angry they tricked him, and later a little kid's like, I gotta go pee because that bear scared me. And of course, what happens? I'm not sure what happens here, but I know Bucky gets attacked. There's kids being dragged around, kids screaming. There is a bear.
It is I was pretty shocked by this. So a kid gets like a bear does attack for real now after like the fake thing. Mm-hmm. Howard shoots the bear multiple times.
Yeah.
But they kind of play in this movie. Is the bear supernatural? Is the bear not? It's hard to tell. Definitely, we see this bear take dozens of bullets and just kind of shrug him off.
Yep.
He gets walloped in the face.
Yeah.
Whack. Bear smacks him. And then we see the bear rip into a tent and drags off a sleeping bag, which has a screaming kid in it. I'm like, yes.
Was that
and
Bucky?
Then we cut. Yeah, that's fucking Bucky.
Because Bucky's in the hospital wrapped up like a mummy for the rest of the movie.
Well, they also take a very long time in telling us Bucky's not dead.
I know.
Because the way the scenes unroll from there, we see a child being carried off in the sleeping bag. I'm like, this is grim. And then we hear, I guess, like we see Chrissy at the hospital.
Bucky's mom.
Being Bucky's mom, Jason's estranged wife, and someone says Bucky isn't going to make it. I'm like, wow, they go in here. We have a weird flashback.
And the Native American guy says, very sad, I go drink whiskey now. So that's what he says.
Well, the Native American man talks to, the Native American man finds out first, and he tells Jason, who was off being drunk, I guess.
Right.
And he says, I think I go drink whiskey. Mm-hmm. You come drink whiskey too. And all throughout this is all flashback showing them in happier days.
Flashback. Oh,
and
yep. The kid. There's a flashback of Bucky, and he puts his parents' hands together. It's like, remember, we were just like the Three Musketeers.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And then
George.
It's like it's this. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, wait.
Can I say one line before you do that?
Yeah.
It's because it's just key. At the end of this thing, he's like, we're like the Three Musketeers, and he goes to bed. And he turns around and goes, "Oh, Dad, I almost forgot. I love you."
Oh, that's right.
I'm like, you almost forgot you love your dad, you little shit, you little shit. All right, what's your list, Tim?
It's not a list. I just saw. I bought the laser disc for this.
Oh wow, that was a bad purchase.
It had outtakes because that kid had a hard time saying we are just like the Three Musketeers. So at first he said, "Remember us when we were just like the Three Beatles?" And so that didn't work. And then he said, "We were like the Fantastic Three." They're like, no, try again. He says, "We're like those three presidents on Mount Rushmore."
This kid. What else, Tim?
We're like the Three Horsemen of the Apocalypse. And then
did he say we're like the two shots that killed President Kennedy in the Zapruder film?
Yeah, good one.
Yep.
Then he said, we're like the Four Wise Men. But finally, he got it.
He sure did. Right in the back of the head at Dealey Plaza. Am I right?
Yes.
Are we talking about Bucky? He got it from that fucking bear.
There were four wise men, George. Most historians think that there were four.
Did they wonder why, if they were so wise, they didn't know how to get where they were going?
They followed a star. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's a good way to follow your way places.
Never mind.
Yeah, start staying in one place, dummy.
I had a joke there, but then I was like, what about this Shining movie? I better watch it again. Anyway.
Yeah,
You're
you are so rocked. You're so rocked by my...
I am.
The Shining is a great film.
I'll try it again. I'm not saying it's bad, but some people don't like it.
Yeah, well, some people are jerks.
Stephen King didn't like it, remember?
Yeah, Stephen King is wrong in that. You ever see the movie Stephen King did when he got to do his own Shining?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jack Nicholson's role played by the guy from Wings. Enough said.
What's your favorite Stephen King movie then? Adaptation?
The Shining.
Oh, that's right.
Absolutely.
Trick
Are you
question,
kidding me?
George. I trick you.
Not even. Yeah, come on. All right. So then we cut after this. So we basically get a lot of scenes of like flashbacks showing them in happier times. The kid saying the kid forgetting loves his dad.
I'd like to point out his mom spends more time everywhere except the hospital with her.
Well, wouldn't you? I wouldn't love that the weird clawed up kid. It was ugly.
He's everywhere.
Yeah. And then let's see.
Oh, the commissioner meets with some fancy people. The only people that are almost funny. They're fancy people from the city who know how to catch the grizzly bear, and one of them has a pipe.
Yep.
And he talks like
this guy's great. I don't know. Yeah. This scene reminds me very much of previous Seddy Bimco episode Boggy Crake 2, The Legend Continues.
Right. Yeah.
Because these two fancy city folks are going to use their machine that has sensors in order to track and capture the bear safely. And the commissioner's like, I don't know, a rogue grizzly. I ain't never seen one that could be caught and rehabilitated. They're like, we got it handled. Blah, 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 blah.
And also the poacher's there. The poacher's with them, and the ranger's like,
oh yeah, right. The lead poacher, the one with and he makes some comments to the poacher, and the poacher's like, "I'm not evil, blah," but he was. Oh, there's also a weird scene where we see some also shades of Jaws. The local redneck constabulary, not in constabulary, the rednecks are just coming out. They're all waiting to get it. They're waiting to shoot this bear, and we see them interacting with the character. I'm like, oh, this must be something. There's a dude whose name is
Chopper Pilot. I'm calling him
what's
Chopper
his name?
Pilot.
I wrote it down somewhere.
CP.
Shit, I know where I wrote it.
CP.
Anyways, a chopper pilot. And one of the rednecks is like, chopper pilots are an endangered species in these big bad woods.
I know.
Like that was a good line delivery. I have to record. I wrote that up phonetically, everybody. There's a lot of emphasis there.
And he shoots a tree with a flare gun just to prove.
Shoots a tree with a flare gun. Yep. Yep.
So George.
Yeah.
This is my official list because they were so angry towards the chopper pilot. It seemed unreasonable, right? So don't you want to know why the chopper pilots hate? I mean, why these hunters hate chopper pilots?
Why chopper pilots are an endangered species in these parts? Yes. Yeah. Yes, I do.
The rednecks hate them. Well, number one, because chopper pilots always fly over the local zoo and they scare the chickens. Okay, number two, chopper pilots. They know the arcane art of flying through the air just like a witch. Number three, chopper pilots often fly over the local zoo and they scare old man Edwards, who's usually hiding in the chicken enclosure. So
what's he doing in that chicken enclosure, Tim?
Hiding. I said hiding.
Right.
Don't make it bad.
Is he hiding part of his anatomy in the chickens? Because that's disgusting. Tim, that reminded me of something.
You got a list?
Your mention of the zoo there's a thing I like to do. We always talk about like things about the actual state. We kind of skipped over Alaska to talk about.
Oh, we didn't do the facts.
I know, right?
You want to do it
so
now?
I just yeah. Well, I mean, here's this facts I got. I really only got two. So your speech, you're talking of like a zoo, which speaks to like an infrastructure. Reminding me, Alaska is not just untamed wilderness.
Yeah.
Tim, do you want to know when the first elevator was built in Alaska?
Never.
1971. No, I think you're lying about this because I found on Reddit Alaska, a person wrote, "I am looking to ride the oldest working elevator in every state.
Whoa.
Where are they?" Yep. And this is posted to this. So first off, I think that person is you.
I know. What's that name?
I didn't actually record them. We should have. So people responded. They think that the KIC building in Ketchikan was built using elevator code from 1937. So we have that. That's all I was able to find. Right?
Saskatchewan? Is that what you're trying to say?
Ketchian? No, it's something I've never heard of before. Okay. Keeshan? Maybe Bill Keane? I don't know. Then I looked up streetcars.
No,
this is real.
It was too cold there.
No, this was funny. So I looked it up, and sure enough, I wrote, "What is Alaska's for a streetcar?" Google heals me a thing. An article is called "Alaska's for a streetcar." I'm like, I very seldom get such direct answers to my question. I was very excited, and so I go to it, and it was on the blog Aunt Phil's Trunk.
Shout out to Aunt Phil.
Might be Aunt Paul's. My handwriting's pretty bad.
Wow.
And now there was a lot of questions. So it starts off with basically there is a type of person in Alaska that they spoke of with great familiarity where they call them a sourdough. I don't think they're made of bread. I don't know what they are. But this guy, the sourdough person, gave President Warren G. Harding a tour in the first streetcar in 1923.
Ooh.
Yep. Yep.
That's it? Nothing happened on their tour?
They cut off so many legs of so many Alaskans, but there's only two, so it was 4 legs in total.
It caused a revolution.
Yeah, that's why Alaska, the Great Alaskan Revolution of 1923.
They collected the whole family.
Yep.
They shot them all in the basement, but one little girl got away. Her name?
And her name was Anastasia.
Anastasia.
I like Anastasia better. And she goes, "I'll take your pain away." We are a good podcast.
We've got skills tonight. I told you it's going to be a great episode.
This is already the best episode
There's
we've ever
not
done.
much in this movie to talk about.
Come on, let's get back on that logging road.
So Chris, she's mad at. Oh, now she's mad at the new boyfriend because he let Bucky get eaten by a bear.
Yeah, she knows consciously she shouldn't be mad at Howard because he did try to stop him. He just got beaten up by the bear.
We should say Chris just sits around this whole movie going, "I don't know. I'm sad.
I am sad.
What about Bucky? I'm not there because I never want to be there in the hospital. She's everywhere else. She's at houses. She's in the woods.
She's like, I hope Steve helps Bucky. See what I did there?
Steve? No.
Steve.
Oh.
They're going up against that fearsome Baron Zemo.
Yes. Right.
Yep.
I know that's coming. I purposely didn't write a Bucky revenge story. I know you're going to do it. She runs away. She goes to see Monroe. And he's like, you run away. They have very dramatic talk that it's hard to follow.
Oh, I'll say this though. Like, I was very pissed off about this talk.
Yeah.
So so here's the thing. Basically, there is much like Jaws, our principal characters are going to go out and dispatch this rogue bear. Yep. And in case you're wondering who they are, it's Henry, the Native American guy. It's the commissioner, Ben. It's Howard, the new boyfriend, and he will be accompanying Jason, the logger with the grievously wounded arm that never comes into play again for us.
No.
And she is all like, you can't let Jason go. He'll die out there.
Right.
And so they have a talk, and he gives her the most fucking douchebaggy talk about, like, you should have supported me. It's like, no, you fucking asshole. You were wrong. You had your arm lightly injured by a bear, and it ruined your marriage because you sank into drink and depression. Fuck you.
Yeah.
She was right to leave you.
Yeah.
I am Team Howard. I am anti-Team Monroe. That guy could suck a log.
That's why I was angry at this film still.
Yeah.
Oh, can we just quickly say the fancy people try to catch the bear and the bear eats them? I don't know if you
slow motion. It busts through a window and murders them. And it's so funny.
Beep and they go, call the. I say, dear boy, call the commissioner. He talks like that.
They're like this,
tell them we've caught the bear.
The sensitors went off. Quick, tell Charles B. Pierce, director of Boggy Creek 2.
Yes. And the beeper stops, and then bear comes to the window. The bear leaves
more accurately a cardboard.
Right.
It's pretty bad looking, this bear.
He leaves one hanging from the rafters for some reason when they come find the bodies.
And that guy, this is hilarious. So, like, this is not a movie where they had the budget to make a lifelike simulacrum of a dead body. No. It's just the actor, and, like, man, he's in an uncomfortable position, and more props. He's got blood on his face with his eyes wide open. His eyes are fucking moving. He's visibly breathing. I'm like, is he supposed to be dead? It's not good. He looks very alive. He looks bloody and upside down, but I'm like, that guy, hey.
Yep.
That guy ain't dead. So yeah, then our 4 heroes go off to kill the bear, and I think we need to start condensing plot here.
Yeah, they just go up.
But before we do, I have my list.
You have a list.
I do have a list. Tim, you ready for it?
Is it?
Yeah, start my list music.
3 reasons why there is no list music. You're not getting.
You're gonna make some. You're making some list music for me. No. Make some list music. Damn it!
Make some list music. Reasons why The Shining is one of your favorite movies.
Yeah, no, it's actually so when I think Alaska, Tim, I of course think of baked Alaska.
Yeah.
So I have a list of things that are baked besides Alaska. Are you ready for this?
Is one of them going to be me?
No. 1, salmon.
Okay.
2, cakes, but hopefully not with soggy bottoms.
Okay. Right.
Yep. 3, potatoes. Yep. 4, ziti.
Oh, I love big ziti.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I don't. 5, excuses, but only halfway. and 6, my co-host Tim.
I knew it.
And that has been my list of things besides Alaska that are baked. All right. So speaking of people who are baked, immediately upon heading out, Henry, the Native American older man, is tripping balls.
Yeah. Which is insulting again. It's supposed to be he's Native American. We didn't see him smoke anything, right?
Well, I don't know. I feel like he almost certainly, like, he is literally hallucinating. Like, he keeps rubbing his eyes. He keeps seeing these 3 women that we learned are called the Wailing Women.
Yep.
There is a hilarious sequence where he keeps seeing fucking goats.
I know. That was the only good part.
What? But what was that? Then, like, there was
fighting.
like
it was clonking
goats
their horns
fine, but like
together.
they don't seem to be there because other people, and like he sees other animals looking out, and there's like definitely at least one that's
the most creative part of the movie. Saw frogs, a moose, a fish, an elephant. I saw him.
He's tripping balls. He eventually falls down a cliff.
Yes.
And there's a very tense scene where the 3 remaining men have to work together, even though, Monroe was a little pissed at Howard because Howard's schlepping his old lady.
Monroe's told everybody, I'm just going to keep going. You can't keep up.
Yep.
Step your toe.
Let's just address Monroe is the most unlikable main character we've ever had in a movie. He is such a fucking asshole. I'm like, why could this movie not have had this guy die in the beginning? And Chrissy is like moving on to happiness, the new guy. And like, this guy sucks.
Because
he doesn't change.
He becomes the hero at the end. Spoilers.
He does by default, but like he doesn't learn a lesson. He actually makes Chrissy think that she was wrong for dumping his ass when he was an asshole.
Yeah.
So anyway, they save the fucking Native American guy who just fell off a cliff because he was tripping balls, and then he's laying down because he can't move, and so they're camping, and at this point we learn that apparently the logger is also a great hunter, which they give us no hint for, and he's like, I can tell you this. That bear's been stalking us for 2 days. Like, you didn't fucking tell us this, you asshole.
Just like Bucky Creek. Remember?
Just like Bucky Creek. This is, this shows you, like, I love the Bucky Creek movies. We teased them, but like, Charles B. Pierce, good filmmaker.
Yeah.
These 2 guys, not good filmmakers.
So they save. Is Henry his name? Native American man?
Henry, yeah.
He just walks off in the woods and gets eaten by a bear after they save
Wanders off in the woods. He sees the 3 wailing women. He's like, I'm ready. And the bear just annihilates him. He's dead. He's dead.
They don't hear this.
And then there's a creepy scene where the 3 men are hanging around the campfire, the 3 survivors, man. They don't notice this is happening. And our main character, Jason Monroe, seems to be drunk, but he's certainly surly and scary and dangerous. And Howard is like, look, I'll just say it. I love her. I think she loves me. He tries to explain it. And in response, the only response our quote unquote hero has is he slowly aims his gun at this guy. Like, just a fucking creepy asshole.
Wow.
Yeah, he sucks.
The one guy leaves. He goes back. Why does he go back?
So Howard waits to stay on top of a tree. He's like, here's my idea. We're chasing the bear into cold territory. I'm way up in this tree. And this time, I'll shoot him right between the eyes. I won't miss him. Yep. And the other 2 guys are like, all right, we're going to go walk into the cold because we were wearing light jackets. That seems like a good idea.
But Henry, he was reading the New People magazine.
Henry's dead. Henry's dead. Howard.
He's reading the New People magazine, all about this new movie, Star Wars. He gets distracted, and the bear knocks him out of the tree and the gun. It's pretty stupid.
Yeah, the bear knocks the tree down, and then he's like sitting there going, whew. I'm okay. And a guy in a bear costume tackles him off camera, and that's the end.
He's like, I'll never see Star Wars.
He goes, oh no.
Chris is still not in the hospital. She's on the radio trying to call them. I want to emphasize, Chris, she never visits her son. She's on the radio, the radio station. Through half this movie, they're like, come in. Have you encountered the bear? They're just like talking, and then the guy in the chopper goes up. It's a lot of that. Or did you fall asleep? That's why I hated it.
I stopped taking notes. I actually wrote here, and about here's where I stopped taking notes.
Well, George, I do have another list.
Yep.
A better one.
Damn it.
It's a better one.
Better be. I mean, it would have to be.
It's about Chris. Why is she never at the hospital? Why does she not go to the hospital to visit her son Bucky? So this is why.
Because you saw him, right? You saw what the kid looks like?
Yeah, but
that's why.
She heard there's a lot of Sikh people at the hospital, and she's very afraid of those people from Punjab, India, who wear the turbans.
You said, I wasn't sure if you said Sikh or like you mispronounced sick.
She's afraid of those. She went to the hospital once to get a toe removed, and the doctors asked her all sorts of invasive questions about how that toe got in her ear canal. The hospital's very noisy with beeps and alarms, so she'd rather visit patients once they're in the cemetery.
Wait a second. I have a question.
Yeah.
Why did you mention the Sikh bit?
Sikh? She doesn't like the hospital. Yeah. There's a lot of Sikh people there.
Were there?
George, there's a lot of
Oh my
Sikh
God, that's
people.
the joke!
There's a lot of Sikh people in the hospital, George.
That sucks!
No, it's a good one.
No. Holy shit, Tim. God damn it.
Come on. Anyway, one more. The other reason she hates the hospital, she once had her stomach pumped after drinking too much at her friend's bachelorette party, and the doctors asked her too many invasive questions about how another toe ended up in her ear canal.
Polite cough.
Polite cough. I hated this movie.
Yeah, this movie sucked.
So Chris wants to go up the mountains in the helicopter. The helicopter brings one injured guy back.
So there's a storm going on, right? So the helicopter guy, the guy flies in despite the storm.
Into clouds.
It's very funny because they clearly, it's very clear where they are because they filmed this where it's not stormy. They're like, that's clear where we are. He lands. Meanwhile, during this point, Jason and Ben being the old commissioner, the commissioner falls down a hill too because the bear jumps out and scares him.
Yes.
He's injured. So they fly out the commissioner.
Chopper pilot.
Jason's like, I got to stay because I'm a badass.
Yep.
He flies back the commissioner. Jason's still going to fight the bear.
Yep.
He gets the commissioner back. Chrissy, instead of waiting with her son Bucky, like Tim seems to think she should have to, because a woman's place is with her children.
It is.
But she's like, I'm coming with you to help Jason. So she convinces him to fly back into the storm. And so Jason, meanwhile, he gets attacked by the bear. He drops his gun. He gets an axe. He's fighting the bear with an axe. Like I said, no evidence.
On train tracks, by the way, George. I was excited. Train tracks. It was a mine.
I honestly didn't catch that part. Oh, you're right. Yeah, because the bear lives in a mine.
Yep.
So he's fighting a bear with an axe.
The bear tears open a can that I guess we're supposed to know is gas, but they didn't label it.
He gets sprayed with fluid that turns out is gasoline later. And so the bear's trying to get him, and then she shows up. And remember that flare gun scene before, everybody?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
That's foreshadowing.
Yep. I thought, I'm like, oh, props to this movie. It's going to give a moment of heroism to our female lead, who up until now has just been basically like
sitting around sad,
being like, you're right. I was a jerk to leave you when you were an alcoholic mess who blamed a bear for your sadness, and you were totally like all this shit.
Yep.
She runs up with a flare gun, and I'm like, yes, do it. Shoot the bear, and the bear hits her and drops the flare gun because of course we could have let the woman have the day.
Nope.
And our fucking turd, our living turd of a hero, Monroe, picks up the flare gun, shoots the bear, and then we see a carpet and wood frame of a bear falling off a mountain on fire.
They added his voice in there. You hear him say, he's doused in gasoline. Just to make sure you know. Yeah, I heard him say
because this bear is lit and stiff. And the bear falls off, and then they cut back to our heroes making out. Because apparently they're back together now.
He's a nice guy now. The end.
Yep. The end.
Ooh. I hated this. This is one of the first movies I hated. I hated it.
I can't believe it. Like, that is interesting that you hated this movie. Like, what was it that made you hate this movie so much?
Nobody. There was no characters. I mean, they had no character. Nobody was anything but sticks of wood, except that one guy from college who's like, hello, I'm here to help you catch your bear with my fancy college.
and my pipe, puff, puff.
Yes.
My unlit pipe. That's like, he was like a snowman.
I know. I was like, oh boy, I hope he's in this movie. But no.
He was briefly. He was the upside down guy, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. The one who couldn't act dead. Guy couldn't even act dead.
And it was such a faded copy. I don't know if you saw a better copy.
No, I watched the one on YouTube.
We'll do revenge and get out of here. Wherever you are, wherever you're hiding, I'll find you. Who's most likely to become a prop comedian in India? Wow, everybody died in this movie. Oh, you thought our fancy college kid was still alive. Maybe he was alive, and he crawled out.
And he
of the
becomes
woods.
a prop game.
He stole that $15,000 van.
I'm going to say the bear that was in the hippie's car was his prop he used. So the two of them hit the road together, and he would pretend that the bear was a puppet.
He joined up with
no,
the hippie?
not the hippie.
Oh.
The hippie ran off.
Okay.
To live a pantsless life in the wilderness.
Okay.
The man survives. He crawls to the car. The bear is still inside because, of course, the commissioner kicked him out. He's like, old fella, you and I are going to go on an adventure. And they drove down through Canada into the continental United States. They hit a ramp, jumped all the way to India. You're right, because they didn't go there. And there he showed people the amazing bear puppet he had. And the bear would sit on his lap, and he'd pretend to have his bear in the bear's back, and they would do crazy shticks.
And he had a pipe, too, remember? And a hat.
And the bear would smoke a pipe.
Yeah.
And the bear had a bear hat, and the bear would solve crimes. And that's how the world discovered Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, Jesus.
Turns out he was really a bear.
You got your years wrong.
Did you know that? We don't know what year this was set in. Our only clue of what year this was set in was that trucks cost $15,000 back then. Beat up trucks.
Are you saying he had a bear puppet? It wasn't a real bear.
No, it was a real bear.
It was.
Yep. But he pretended it was a puppet. See what I'm doing?
Trained
But then the bear knew. The bear was very smart. How'd the bear get in the car in the first place?
Okay.
The bear was trying to steal the car.
They got there.
Yeah, this sucks. Let's end this. Wait, what's that I hear knocking at the door?
What?
Is that the Smithsonian coming to take this away? Sure. Or take it away.
But, George, no, this worked.
Yeah.
When he got to India on stage, he realized that this bear told jokes. And he said, waka waka. They're like, hey.
Oh, my God, it was Pac-Man. No?
Come on. You know. You're yanking my chain.
Henny Youngman.
Waka waka.
Waka, yeah, Pac-Man.
It's a
Waka,
bear
waka,
that
waka,
tells
waka,
jokes.
waka.
And
Yeah,
two
Henny
old men
Youngman.
up in the balcony were like, your jokes are so bad. It's Fozzie Bear.
Right, yeah.
It's Fozzie Bear, George.
Yep. Oh, Fozzie Bear. Okay.
Man.
I knew that. Yeah, I knew all that. Yeah, it's a good joke. Good story.
This is supposed to be a comedy podcast. So
we're pretty funny, though.
Tell your Bucky story about him being Captain America's sidekick.
Okay, so yeah, here's all right, start the music, right?
Okay.
So the revenge was on Bucky. So Bucky was grievously, the revenge was by Bucky. We saw him like, I'm not even kidding everybody. This dude, everything is bandaged up there except for part of his lips.
Yeah.
And he said, at one point, the only thing he ever says is, get me my daddy.
Yes.
So Bucky does eventually heal, but he's never quite the same. He loses his arm. Luckily, it's replaced with a vibranium robotic bionic arm.
And his lips are still a bit sewed up. And then he says, oil can. Okay.
I want that stricken from the record. Does not happen. So Bucky's parents, they can't stand the sight of their cybernetic child. They abandoned him. And he is raised by the local army base where he's sort of a camp mascot. Mm-hmm. There he befriends a young private named Private Steve Rogers. Yeah. Bit of a clumsy foul up, if you ask me. Mm-hmm. But that guy, turns out, do you know who he was in disguise?
Captain America.
No, he's Captain Alaska.
Oh, okay.
This is very regional. Yep. And he fights the forces of evil with his weapon, which is a shield that's actually just a bunch of pine cones that he loosely taped together.
Probably shaped like a maple leaf.
Oh, wait, that's Canada, though.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm no good tonight.
And, yeah, neither of us are. This movie did something to us, too. Yeah, it hurt. And, yeah, and they fought the invading forces of Alaska, and his arch enemy was the red moose. And Baron Sasquatch. Yeah, it's a good one. Who else? Emile Zola, not Arnim Zola. Actual Emile Zola. And eventually, in the hinter days of this war, this Alaskan Civil War we mentioned earlier, I think, Bucky and Captain Alaska are taped to a giant missile, which is going to be fired at Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And the missile blows up and kills them both.
Okay.
Yep.
So
yeah, that's how it fucking ends. Yeah.
You could at least put a Sikh joke in there or something. Anyway.
Wow. As a grim footnote to it, his father reads about this in the paper and goes, huh, and then turns the page and continues to be angry about how his arm kind of vaguely hurts sometimes from the bear attack.
Oh,
Yep, it's good.
Start my music. We should have talked about The Shining. The Shining. So Bucky, he's rebuilt with a metal arm and legs.
Wait, same as me!
He does not become a sidekick to Captain America or Alaska.
Wait, who? Who then? Wait, can I guess?
No,
Batman?
he just lives his life in town.
Just himself. But he's got robot arm and legs.
He's got an estranged mother because his mom still runs away from things. In this movie, we learned she likes to run away from things.
Yeah, she also likes to drop flare guns at opportune moments. Yep.
And she's very afraid of tall buildings. So when they finally opened a bookstore in town, she was afraid of it because of how many stories it had, George. And she ran away.
All right, I'm leaving.
And she fell down a ravine.
Bye, everybody.
She hurt herself so badly. She was in the hospital all wrapped up, like her whole body except her lips. And her son Bucky, being very petty, said, finally, I'm going to get my revenge. She never visited me when I was in the hospital. I'm not going to visit her. So she would call him up and say, why don't you come see me? And he would say, I can't, I'm sick. And she'd say, well, if you're sick, come to the hospital and visit me, and the doctor will see what's wrong with you. And he says, I know what's wrong with me. I have Dewana sickness. Wait. She asks, what's Dewana sickness? And he says, I don't want to come see you. You have a question?
I was wondering if he was sick or seek.
Yeah, he said, I'm Sikh. And she goes, oh, don't come here. I'm very afraid of you.
Apologies to all our Sikh listeners. Tim normally isn't this blatantly racist, but,
Not racist.
This movie was rough.
I'm interposing Sikh and sick. Come on. Is that racist?
Yeah.
It is not.
What nationality are you, Tim?
Huh?
What nationality are you?
Irish. So if you call me Irish Spring or Irish. Wow. Let me continue. Let me continue.
Okay.
So on Tuesday, she calls him up.
So good.
Wants him to come visit her. And he says, I can't come. I can't see. And she says, well, come to the hospital. They have a great optometrist. And he says, no. I mean, I can't see any reason to come visit you. Oh. So then another time,
I'm feeling dizzy
to visit.
Yeah.
And he says, I can't come. I'm going to a tree convention. And she says, well...
Oh, I was really worried you were going to say, I can't come.
You visit before you go? He says, no, I have to leave immediately to get to the tree convention. This is a few years later, by the way, George. You know how many years?
Did he have... But couldn't he at least have, wasn't there any opportunity for him to branch out into other interests?
No.
Because, the root of his problem might have been that his bark was worse than his bite.
That's true.
All right,
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah.
You helped me better than I helped you. This is a few years later, George, because she called him one day and wants him to come visit. And he says, no, I'm going to see the new Star Wars movie called The Empire Strikes Back. And she says, yeah, I know, but you have time to come to the hospital before you go. And he says, no, that's not true. That's impossible. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, no, I'm going right now. And she hears the sound of urine coursing down his leg.
No. You're missing it, George.
I know you're doing. I want you, Tim. I challenge you to do it proper.
I can't do it proper. I can't
do
remember.
A real Mark Hamill. No, do it real.
I was there in the theater, George. All you kids, you missed out. I was in the theater.
I was there, and I was there in Cloud City. I was. If you look carefully, hanging on the antenna next to one-armed Luke Skywalker is a little chubby boy. It's me.
No, I was there when they and people behind me are like, what? And people got up and started running around the theater, and they
that's what. And then when the Millennium Falcon flew at you, everybody's like, it's a spaceship, and they all jumped and ran out of the theater. Was that what happened?
That's what happened.
Yeah. Is this over yet?
No, she says, hey, it's Thanksgiving. Can't you come visit me for Thanksgiving at least?
God, just take a hint, lady.
He says, why should I go see a big turkey in the hospital when I got one right here at home? Sick burn.
Who is the big turkey?
He says, why should I go to the hospital to see a big turkey when I got one here at home? Mm-hmm. His mom.
Oh, because it's Thanksgiving. Yep, I get it. His mom's a big turkey.
So Monroe, he's mad.
Wait, should we have mentioned to people that the role of Chrissy was actually played by a large turkey? He's not even... Did we not mention that?
That's why she was always sitting around depressed. She's
that's why,
November's coming soon. I don't know what I'm going to do.
That's why she was so slow to help Jason when he was attacking with the bear at the axe, because she's like, oh, I know what you're going to do. You're going to cut my head off and stuff me and feed me to a bunch of pilgrims.
That's why she couldn't fire the flare gun. She doesn't have hands.
Yep.
She doesn't have
she just has feathers. Yeah.
Well, Monroe is her husband. He's mad.
Yep, Jason
mad,
Monroe.
gets a stick. He says,
sucks.
I'm going to go beat that kid. And he goes over to Bucky's house and gives him a piece of his mind. And Bucky's like, you're right. I should go see her. I should go see my mom. But first, let me find what stinks so bad so I can get rid of this terrible smell. And Monroe says, smell? What smell? I don't smell anything. And Bucky says, oh, you're right. I can't smell your stink either. I guess I'll smell you later. And he runs into the woods. And Monroe screams at the clouds, falls to his knees. And
is this over?
That's the end.
Yeah.
Sequel's called Why? The sequel's called Clause 2. Why? Because we don't want to visit you. There you go. This movie's so bad. It killed me. It killed me.
Let's not release go the record. Folks, if you actually hear this episode, it means something.
We re-recorded it.
Yeah. Woof. This was hard. This really was like a movie. Like I was watching this, and there was a point I'm like, I can't take any more notes. And like I got up to look, and there was like we were 33 minutes in when I was like, I hit the wall. I'm like, fuck.
We should talk about
this movie. Is like an hour 30. We should talk about The Shining. Wait, The Shining is filmed in Colorado, right? We should watch that. Let's watch The Shining.
No, it's well made.
It's a fucking brilliant movie.
I think people are upset because there's that guy who has The Shining and can see the future, right?
Scatman Crothers, yep.
And he doesn't see that a man is going to hit him in the chest with an axe when he shows up. So anyway.
Hey, The Shining isn't infallible. It's not like the spider sense.
I'm going to check and see. There are no emails.
Nice.
And?
All right. What is it?
Hey, that was a great show. Ooh, here we go. I'm going to pick a movie for next week.
That was a great show. We definitely didn't stink at all. Yeah, what's the one for New Jersey, Tim?
In New Jersey. Oh, that's where Abbott's from. Mr. Lou Costello's from New Jersey.
Oh.
There's a fact.
Wow.
But we'll wait till next week.
The myriad of things you could have said about the state of New Jersey. Instead, you chose the old person fact. Good.
1981. It's called The Prowler. It's a slasher.
Ooh.
flick.
Is it about the guy who fights Spider-Man occasionally?
Oh, my God, no.
No?
Slasher film. This movie follows a group of college students as a military-clad killer wreaks havoc on their...
A military-clad...
wreaks havoc on their small New Jersey town.
Is this really filmed in New Jersey, Tim?
That got me some... Yeah, I looked this all up.
Yep. All right, so yeah.
New Jersey. It's filmed in New Jersey.
New Jersey. Nice.
That was a funny Sikh joke, George. Sick and Sikh.
No, you suck.
It's just words. It's not racist.
You Sikh. You're taking a person's cultural identity and using Irish. You didn't make that joke. How about that?
So we'll go.
Okay.
I guess we'll go now.
Yep. We'll go. We're going. It's the end of Seddy Bimco.
Oh, this is
Bye, everybody. Oh, wait. We were supposed. Oh yeah, wait.
This has been a Pity Party Line production.
Party line, it's a party line.
No.
What?
No.
I picked it, George.
No. It has to be filmed in the state. That's the whole point.
But
the Nicaragua, it was Alabama pretending to be Nicaragua. You could do that.
What?
No. The whole point is this is regional film coming from the region. You can't be like...
Then you got to wait a minute while I look at my document and pick something else.
Yeah, you fucking... What were you going to say, just out of curiosity?
It's a mutant bear movie. Jeez.
Yeah, no. Nope.